aliens, give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. Toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized, push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the light. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head, get you out of my head.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Fools are calling and the I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Now that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat down, I press the lens just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I go with a color playing the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marvel Talk. Once again, we're here 10 straight weeks with at least me, probably Andre too, depending how well he enjoys Daredevil Born Again. But tonight, we're not talking...
It looks good. It's gonna be.
So
I think
good.
it's gonna be great.
But I know you've been saying, depending on how long you could stick with it, because you've had some issues with the Netflix stuff in the past.
I never had issues with Netflix. It didn't have issues. It lost my interest as it went on. That's where I was just by the end of season 2, I was just like, eh. And I watched Defenders and all that. Hey, wow! People showed up at the beginning of the stream for me because it did not. Everybody showed up right. Well, everybody. Okay, so Friday, everybody showed up at the end of the stream.
That was me. I did that. I showed up at the end of the
You
stream.
did. SCG did. Astrid did. Everybody showed up at like the last 10 minutes. That was it.
Andre found this. It is a file directly pulled from, I believe, Disney. I believe this is one of the beginnings.
I took it from
of
Google.
episodes.
I got it from Google. I pulled it off of Google.
So, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I will say, I came into this expecting nothing. It was an animated Spider-Man show. Because, see, here's the thing. There have been some very good Spider-Man animated shows. I think he is the easiest animated character to make good things happen with, because there are so many good villains to pull from. He has an iconic story that you can take and do pretty much anything you want to it. And there are some fantastic people associated with Spider-Man, both heroes and villains and everything. So I didn't want to expect too much, because I'm like, we've seen a lot of this before. Between
I went in the same way going. I was gonna say, I was in the same way, just going, this looks fun. This looks like a Spider-Man cartoon. It's going to be fun. That's what I went in with. That's the only thought I went in with, was this looks fun.
Yeah, because we've had three different, we've had two trilogies in what was supposed to be a trilogy for Spider-Man film franchises. We've had, I want to say, at least 3 or 4 different Spider-Man animated shows, with obviously the Fox Spider-Man show that they call Spider-Man 98 as the iconic
Unlimited, Ultimate, Bell one that had, that was Ultimate Spider-Man. Then there's another Spider-Man between the Fox ones that was like all CGI. Dude, there was one after the Drake Bell one. Dude, there's again, and then you think about the ones before the 90s. There's the 80s Spider-Man His Amazing Friends. There's one that this one takes its art form from in the 70s. So yeah, there's a lot of Spider-Man cartoons out there.
And so I went into it going, I'm open-minded to enjoying this, but I'm not expecting to fall in love with it. By the end of this, I fell in love with it. I really, honestly, kind of fell in love with this. Is it a perfect show? God, no. It's not. It's not a perfect show. There are a litany of holes of logic throughout this entire show. But you know what? I never noticed them until after. Because during that 20 to 30 minutes that I watch this show, I enjoy every single moment of it. This Peter Parker is so much fun to be around.
Just disappoint. This is the 11th official Spider-Man animated series.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. I found Spider-Man television shows you all the animated. The first animated series was in '67 and is gone.
Which is where the music comes from. Which is where the opening scene comes from. Which, by the way, is one of my favorite things. Like in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, when they had like that little riff of that version of the theme at the end of the movie. Oh, I wasn't a kid in the 60s, but like I know that song. It's ingrained in my skull.
But as a child, I grew up watching that cartoon, because before the Fox series, that was my first Spider-Man cartoon, because that would be playing on Teletoon up here in Canada, and that's what the cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon played most. I know there was Spider-Man His Amazing Friends and stuff, but it was that one. Like that's the Spider-Man I knew until the Fox Spider-Man came along.
So we're not going to go through this episode by episode, because I really think the best way for you to do this is to enjoy it. What I decided to do is go kind of character by character and talk about the different characters that we meet, and the ones that, and talk about how good they were, how well they were fleshed out, how little they were fleshed out. Let's start with the star of the show, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Peter Parker, played by Hudson Thames.
So good.
Sensational.
Oh, dude. Thames did such a good job bringing the emotionality to the voice that he did. And just, it makes you just fall in love with this kid. It makes you just like want this kid to succeed in everything he does. Like it was just absolute perfection.
Yep. And for those who are like, I think we've heard this before, Hudson Thames did the What If Spider-Man. Hudson Thames will be back for Marvel Zombies as Spider-Man. This is going to be your animated Spider-Man going forward, it seems like.
Yeah, I'm down.
I think he did like you said, I think he did a sensational job here. He's 30 years old, which you would never tell from the way this character's voice sounds. Did a sensational job sounding like a teenager. More importantly to me than any of that, because again, in an animated show, the only thing you can really tell is, like you said, the emotionality and the vocal acting that they can do. The one thing I really like about him is he feels like his own Spider-Man all by itself. There's no Spider-Man that looks, feels, and acts like this Spider-Man.
No, again, they do such a great job. Like in the first episode, there's nods to the MCU in how he meets Norman versus Tony. Just him finding the DVD player, the little things you see, but it's telling its own story, letting it be its own thing. And I think the characters alone in this series really help differentiate his friends, his mentors, really help differentiate this Spider-Man from every Spider-Man we've seen before.
Yeah. I love the idea that, and it's funny because in the finale, the show literally confused me until they explained, because like it took me a second to figure out what happened in the finale to what happened in the beginning of the show, with Doctor Strange being there, with the Beast destroying the town. That was such a well done thing that I literally didn't see it coming until it was obvious that they were telling us that's what happened.
I was wondering what the hell happened, because when, especially in the first episode, you see the portal, but it's glowing green, and I'm like, the fuck's going? Because my brain green went to Time Stone, but I'm like, nah, it's something weird, and then it confirms it all, and then I'm like, god damn, they went through time. As soon as he showed up and said, I've never done that before, I'm like, he went back. He's going to go back in time here. He's going to go back in time here. That's everything went through his head when he said, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh,
and it's so great because even the first words we kind of hear out of Doctor Strange is he like looks at Midtown High. He goes, Midtown High, I'm not supposed to be here. And I'm like, that's so good. Like looking back, that's such a great detail that they literally give you in the first 5 minutes of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know until the very end of the first season that it's a callback. Such a great job. But again,
beautiful.
There's just such a fantastic job here done by Hudson and this writing team to make him, like you said, him and his group of friends completely different. And the way they make his friends completely different is by giving us a new set of Spider friends. We get Lonnie Lincoln. We get
I love him.
Pearl Pagnan, and we get of course Nico Minoru.
Nico Minoru, man. I really like the way they surround. Like, first off with Lonnie Lincoln, I didn't know that name. That name I didn't know until he gets his nickname, Tombstone.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking into the character, I'm like, oh, that's the real name of Tombstone, eh? Okay. But I was like, dang. And then the evolution of the dude throughout these 10 episodes, from where he is at the beginning to where he is at the 10th episode, I'm like, man, they really take such a great evolution of the character from just random jock friend to essentially a crew.
Yeah. I think Lonnie Lincoln, and again, we're so used to Peter's jock friends being douchebags and assholes.
Yeah, Flash.
That to give Lonnie this wonderful guy next door, wants to be the quarterback, to be a cool guy. He's into science. He's not using Peter. He doesn't realize Peter has a thing for his girlfriend, but at the same time, he's not a dick to him. Like, it's such a cool, different dynamic. Eugene
100%.
Bird does a fantastic job as Lonnie Lincoln, as Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
And the development, you would almost wonder if this show was a Tombstone show as much as it was a Spider-Man show, because of all of the work this team does to make Tombstone and Lonnie Lincoln's character this pivotal, important part of the show. Which was surprising to me because I figured it would be heavy on the Osborns, heavy on the Spider-Man, and kind of everybody else would just be there. But no. They gave this really well done, in-depth character that got entire episodes devoted to him as a main character in this show and using him in pivotal plot points to continue this story. Such a good job by the team here. Such a good job by Eugene Bird.
Yeah. And then you look at like Pearl. Like again,
Pearl. We'll go to Pearl. All right.
Oh, sorry, I just because again, her character, she's played by Kathy Yang. She's to me of the of his four friends in this series. There will be another that we will talk about. She's kind of the least pivotal. Is pivotal to him, to Lonnie than anything. She gives Peter the reason to become kind of have that friendship with Lonnie, but she's more pivotal to Lonnie's story than anything in this series. Even though she is his crush, she is Spider-Man's crush.
Not only Spider-Man's. That's another fun thing about this. Not only Spider-Man.
So yeah, I love that.
Nico has a crush too.
Oh, I know, but I look at those like this the way she's pivotal to Lonnie's story more than she is Spider-Man's in this, which is incredible to see because they're giving a secondary character his own pivotal person, while Spider-Man has his own pivotal things going on, which is great. It helps develop Lonnie in such a great way.
And in 10 episodes, they did such a good job because we know who Pearl is. They very quickly give us exposition to make us understand who Pearl is. And then do such a great job throughout the episodes of her not being pivotal to any real plot points other than the Lonnie stuff. But she's always there. And it's like, she's there as a friend to Nico when Nico needs a friend. She's there for Peter, and she gives this great back and forth of like, Peter's super into her, and she has no clue that he's a dateable boy. Like, he's just a guy, and she's... But again, she's really well done. Character...
He's Petey to her. He's Petey.
The child she used to babysit for. Like, it's such a
and there's a change in the relationship because it was in one of the last episodes. She calls him Peter.
Yep.
So he's like, "Oh my God, you called me Peter instead of Petey." So it shows their evolution, their friendship, which is really cool because you can see her shifting in his story, how she's now shifting in his story after everything she did with Lonnie.
Yep. And they do a good job of helping us understand the closure between her and Lonnie and moving her towards Peter. Again, the team here did such a fantastic job of putting this together. I myself can't sing the praises of Karen's song enough. That wasn't meant to be a play on words, but it was.
You mean Grace song?
Yes, I'm sorry. What do I call it? Nico song?
You said Karen song.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Grace song. No,
it's
Grace
Nico
song.
Minor, yeah.
Grace song, who hasn't done a ton of big things up until this point.
She doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
I know. But she does such a great job giving us a different version of Nico Minoru. Because everybody plays Nico as this super depressed, witchcrafty girl who's running away from her past, literally running away as one of the runaways.
Yeah. And where this one, I like the way they pivoted her backstory, is the fact that her parents are gone.
Yeah.
And she's an orphan. She lives in a foster home.
Mm-hmm.
I love that difference in the character. Now, we do eventually see her channeling her mother. reveal that she does have magic powers. It's what he's like. Peter's like, no more secrets after he's revealed the Spider-Man to her, and she's like, yeah, no more secrets, and yet she has her magic talisman.
Yeah,
which
is, by the way,
I think is the orb that or the eye sits on the top of her staff in other versions. That's essentially what she's holding.
Yeah. I think it's such a well done character because she gives the eyes of the fans for so much of this by being this anti-Osborn in the beginning and then pivoting when she realizes that Harry's kind of a cool guy and not entirely this uptight rich kid that she thought he was. Throughout this show, she's just so entertaining and she's so relatable. And I love how they made her feelings validated throughout the entire show. Like when she's hurt by Peter for lying to her, it's like they don't just make it like he's like, look, I had no choice. I had to do this. No, he makes a legitimate effort to try to make it up to her. He tries to explain it to her. It's such a well done job of making her not just feel like female sidekick MJ Light. And I thought that was a really, really good job.
Yeah, again, and again, I feel like because if you read the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man run, eventually like they brought in Kitty Pryde at one point, and Nico really feels like that character in here where she's brought in as a best, but not love interest for Peter as she was in the Spider-Man comics. I guess she was, and where she again, and I like it. She has this little playful banter with Peter about the Pearl situation. She's like, maybe somebody else will ask her out, and she's inferring herself. And then when she's on the walk with Pearl, and Pearl hugs her and says, "We need to do this again." And she just smiles and goes, "Yes, we do." And it's just those little things I love seeing because again, if you know anything about the character, this character is a lesbian in the comics, and again, good. And again, it's good to represent that in this year. I'm happy they didn't just take the character and shit for the cartoon.
And not only that, they don't beat you over the head with it. So many times, especially now, that we use inclusion and they make the character overt. I love the fact that Nico is like, you can tell, but she never outright says it. Like you said, there are so many times where she shows that that's her persuasion, but she doesn't make it that way. Because there's even portions there where it's like, isn't there between her and Harry? Which I thought was good too.
And her and Peter too. There's little hints with Peter too. And again, I'm fine with the character. They make the character bisexual. That's fine if she wants that. If they want to explore something with a Harry, with a Peter, that's fine. We know the history of the character. Again, she's not. I don't think she gets the lesbian thing. She's bisexual in the comics.
I was gonna say, when you said lesbian, and I was like, I don't think, but I'm not.
I apologize because in the first season of Runaways, she dates what's the main dude in the Runaways? They date before she ends up start dating the blonde girl. In the series, at least, but I apologize to anybody that's offended by that. I apologize.
It's entirely like we're not sitting here and
sexuality is fluid. You can be whatever
absolutely
like you want to be.
And again, there are so many different comic variations that it's impossible to explain away. Generically, it's one or the other. 100%. There are so many different comic runs here. I'm looking at it, and there's a good 15 different comic runs on just her character. And that doesn't even include things that we saw on television or that we've seen in video games or anything like that.
And the character, what it is now, like in now Midnight Suns and things like that. Yeah, it's a very in-depth character. But yeah, I think she is perfection as the best friend in this. And again, they become friends at the start of school, and it shows the evolution of their friendship. It's great, but
he saves her. I love how he saves her without superpowers. That was such a cool thing to do with Peter.
Yeah.
That he's already Spider-Man without having the powers. Such a cool little thing that we get.
Because Spider-Man is not Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker who's the hero. Spider-Man is just a mask he hides behind to make sure he protects his friends and family. Peter Parker is the hero. And again, this series shows that Peter Parker is here. But we have to talk. Can we talk about his best friend in the world? The longest term friend that Peter Parker has ever had in comics. It's Harry.
Absolutely.
Like Harry is amazing. I think Harry's character portrayal in this is absolutely for what a 16-year-old would be in the world we live in today.
Yep.
It's especially like this uber rich kid. He's exactly who you would expect, but the good version of what you would expect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought Zeno Robinson did such an amazing job. As he says here, the dude at the desk, otherwise known as the guy in the chair.
As soon as I heard dude at the desk, I'm like, that's the reference to the guy in the chair.
Yep.
That's the reference to Ned.
There's so much good that comes from Harry Osborn because of the fact that we've seen. So my favorite Harry Osborn is always going to be James Franco. I love Zeno Robinson. I thought he did a fantastic job here as Harry. But that Tobey Maguire Harry Osborn with James Franco playing the role, there's something special about that. This is just so cool because this is the uber rich kid who is like James Franco's rich kid is, I'm a rich kid, but I don't want to be the rich kid. And in this, it's like, no, I am an Osborn. I'm everything that comes with the Osborn name. I am the celebrity. I'm the cool guy. I don't give a shit about school. I don't give a shit about anything other than being cool. And then
it's not like he doesn't give a shit. Like, and they take it to a point where this kid is very smart. He is genius level smart because, like he says, he says he's homeschooled, but he says I pick it up no problem because he and again the character is very smart, but he's also very social media conscious about his look and his how he's and then how he looks towards like Nico when he meets Nico, and just he's very aware of his presence, but he's also very smart, and that's why I very much like this character.
Yeah. But the reason why Harry Osborn is so great in this show is because of one man, and that is Norman Osborn, played by Coleman Domingo. You can't top Willem Dafoe. You can't. There is no better Green Goblin Norman Osborn. No. I'm a bit of a scientist myself. Like, there's no better version of Norman Osborn. But Coleman Domingo makes Norman Osborn, like we said with so many of the other characters, it feels so different, but also so relatable. So something that you know and that you see and that you feel like it makes normal. Norman is the Tony Stark fill-in as Peter's mentor, like you mentioned earlier. But I love that we have the Sokovia Accords mentioned here. I love that he knows Thunderbolt Ross. I love the fact that he seems like the nicest guy until he isn't.
And because then, like, Civil War has happened. Where Spider-Man, it shows the battle at the airport. But Spider-Man, in this version, Spider-Man never existed in to a Tony Stark. And I like this because we do appearance from a Tony Stark in here because of Norman Osborn. And like Norman, like in the first, until those last couple episodes, you really get the feeling it's like, oh, this is a very different Norman Osborn. This is a virtuous, but then you see how he played off of Octavius after Octavius is captured, and things like that. And then you realize, oh, this dude's got some darkness to him. Then you find out he's been like after Peter got seriously hurt and he got Peter's DNA, that he's creating spiders. And all I'm thinking at this point is like, oh, he's gonna give himself spider powers, but it's gonna be all screwed up, and it's gonna be a goblin serum. That's what it's everything that was going on. Oh, by God, it's STG.
It is STG indeed. I love the switch flip in the middle of this show, like you were just talking about. It's so fucking good. Because even when he's being evil, he's doing it with this charisma and this panache. Mad at you for ripping my sign. Good evening, STG. Thank you for joining us. And you kept it. This guy. Yes, this guy, Coleman Domingo, is an absolute delight as Norman Osborn. The look, the feel, the voice, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
And he's this perfect bad guy at the end. Like, he is this awful man at the end of all of this. And he gets in Peter's head about needing to be a killer and he never says the word killer. But that's what he's trying to get Peter to be. You've got to do the things you need to do before they do them to you. Like, they don't want to say the word killer, but that's what they were trying to make Peter.
With great power comes great respect.
I
love the change.
The spit in the face of the iconic line was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think Coleman Domingo was the perfect choice. He plays off Hudson Thames so well. They have such a great vocal chemistry. Like that scene where he tells Spider-Man that when he tells Peter that he knows he's Spider-Man. That was just such an incredibly fun scene. Sitting in the restaurant, just the two of them, because Norman bought out the whole restaurant for the night.
And Peter trying to convince him that one of his staff is playing a trick on him, and then he's like, "It would have been more believable if you had just said you were friends with Spider-Man." I was like, "Yes."
But Norman, he feels so good, and that's why the heel turn. We're wrestling fans. That's why the Norman heel turn works so well.
And it's not even a full heel turn either.
Oh, it is. It's a full heel turn.
Well, he doesn't turn on Spider-Man yet because he's kind of, I would say he's a tweener by the end. He's that tweener leaning heel, but he's not he hasn't completely broken yet.
I guess.
I think season 2 is going to lead him down that path.
In my mind, it's a full. The reason why I say it's a full heel turn is because he doesn't. At the end of this show, he doesn't really care if Spider-Man lives or dies. He's got the stuff he needed. He got the spider he needed. Now, granted, he doesn't realize that the spider's gone, but he did the things he needed to do the things he needed to do. And he honestly, by the end of the episode, in the finale, he doesn't care if Peter lives or dies. Yeah. And that's where I think he's gone full heel. No, he didn't full turn on Peter, but he sure as hell has everybody else. He's Triple H with Batista when Batista has the Royal Rumble victory and he's got the two and he's trying to figure out which one to do. And it's Triple H and he's like all happy and great to his face, but behind the scenes, he's talking shit to Ric Flair about how dumb it would be for Batista to pick him and how he has to pick the SmackDown champion. That's what I feel like. He's full heel, but Peter just doesn't know that he's the bad guy.
I get, and again, you realize that like Peter by the end is also seeing the gray area in Norman Osborn that he doesn't like, and that's where he steps away from from Oscorp and joined with Harry with Webb at the end and things like that. So again, I get what you mean. I feel like he's the bad guy, but he's not the full bad guy. But he's not the bad guy. He's a bad guy, but he's not the bad guy by the end. Because really, in the end, all he's really done was he brought Venom to Earth and stole Peter's DNA. That's really all he's done so far.
The next two people that I single out, I want to single them out as a collective whole, and it's the 110th Street Gang.
Yep.
And most specifically, Big Donovan and Bulldozer.
You only want to talk about Bulldozer because of the voice actor.
We'll get to the voice actor for Bulldozer. Leilani Barrett does a fantastic job here playing Big Donovan. Oh, yeah. I was loving the big. There were portions where I was like, Peter, I love you. I love you, but I need to get back to the 110th Street. I need to get back to the gang. I need more Big Don in my life because Big Don was doing such good shit there. Him and Lonnie and yes, Etor, Big E. Big E is playing Bulldozer. There's a lot of fun here. Big E's great in this. Big E's built for being able to be just this larger-than-life voice personality in general.
And I didn't even recognize him. It wasn't until I saw who they watched the episodes and then went back and listened. And I'm like, okay, by listening very carefully in the limited times that Bulldozer does speak, I did hear the voice, but he did a really great job at changing his voice for the character.
I think you once you know it's Big E in the later episodes, you hear only Big E, but in the beginning it's a little bit different. But no, the 110th Street Gang, and especially just Big Donovan, in specifics, working with Lonnie there's so many great scenes of these three connected. He calls him Superstar for so long until he saves them. And then that's when he gets the name Tombstone. Like, it was such good work developing these side stories that felt so important to all of the stories we're telling. And it brings in Anaris Quinones as Camilla Black. It brings in Jonathan Medina as Mac Gargan, the Scorpion. There's just so much good stuff surrounding the gang warfare element of this, that this B story feels important throughout all 10 episodes. Not all 10 episodes, but once they're introduced, they never really leave the forefront of like being that epitome of that big B line story.
Yeah. Again, it's a good like side story and good to help that helps Lonnie develop. I think I got to speak to Lonnie in the last episode. Well, I loved when he grabs the steering wheel and you see the blue on his fingers of his skin slowly starting to change into his like tombstone skin. I'm like, oh yes, oh yes. But there's a joke in this episode that I didn't realize where where Norman's talking about Spider-Man to Thaddeus Ross. And he calls him John Gallo. But I didn't realize that's the name of the security guard until I just was looking at it. I'm like, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, John Gallo is the security guard at the top of the tower that comes to Peter at one point. Yeah, I like that. I thought it was a really cool way of getting around Spider-Man signing the Sokovia Accords, which I love that are kind of still in existence here because we're in that time frame. It paints a fun picture of this parallel universe that we're in the multiverse. I mean, there's a ton of fun people here. I mean, Charlie Cox comes back for a brief thing as Daredevil. Talking about all of the different Um,
Can we mention Otto Octavius is in this, and he
Hugh
plays a
Dancy.
weirdly pivotal. Yeah, dude, that's the one where I'm like, oh wow, yeah, Hugh Dancy to do this, but like Octavius is weirdly pivotal, but a behind the scenes pivotal because he's building the tech for all the bad guys that we're getting in here. That all Scorpion suit, Speed Demon, his girlfriend, Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
He's building all of this stuff, and then in the end, Norman just gets all of it because he gets Octavius locked up, and I love the parallel, and just Octavius is just this asshole who's just thinks he's better than everybody, which makes sense for the character. It's kind of what he is, and then but the line of, is he using solar power? No.
Yeah.
We haven't found the way to harness the power of the sun. Again, call back to Spider-Man 2, which I was absolute perfection. Again, it's the way this show uses like acts, but doesn't like go call back. It's just like a little quick thing, you're gone. Like I love that.
They did such a good job dropping in Easter eggs into other things, and it's just, there's, like you said, it was just such quick one-liners a lot of the time, things that popped in, popped out. I think this show is a home run. I'm super excited to hear that we've got a season 2 coming in 2026. They're already producing a season 2 before this was even on Disney Plus. It was already,
and they have announced Gwen Stacy Spider-Gwen will be in season 2.
Yay.
Yeah, baby.
Spider-Man. Instead of Hercules.
I love Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, no, I thought this was one of the biggest home runs that Marvel has had on the Disney Plus side in a long time. Like, we've liked a lot of the Disney Plus stuff. Don't get me wrong when I say that this is the biggest home run. But this was a solid home run of a show.
And that the fact that it's MCU, but it's its own world in the MCU, it lets it do so much more than when you have these shows that have to tie into the overall story of a universe that's existing. I much almost prefer this just being on its own. Let it do its own thing. Honestly, I wish the MCU would just kind of die at this point. I think at the end of Secret Wars, they just gotta end it and let all the movies just be on their own again. Like, I almost don't want to connect the universe after that. Just reboot everything. Just let it all be on its own.
I think we're getting there. I think the reboot is going to kind of reset everything to a new status quo. We can start again. I've gone back in via some nefarious means. I've watched Brave New World again.
Dad.
Here's what I'll say. Brave New World is kind of this tipping point where I'm like, we need this fixed. Not we need that movie fixed, but we need the MCU fixed. Because everything they seemed to do for 10, 15 years in phases 1 through 3, they seem to have forgotten what to do in phases 4 and 5. And I know Jonathan Majors getting arrested didn't help. Jonathan Majors, being a bit of a bad guy didn't help with what they were planning and what they were doing. But even if you discount the Kang of it all, it still feels like there's nothing really connecting the multiverse saga to everything else. I think the rebirth of the MCU in the mutant saga coming up after Secret Wars is going to be such a big step forward by bringing in X-Men, by bringing in mutants, by having the Fantastic Four, if that movie's as good as people seem to think it's going to be. Again, I'm holding out hope that it's going to be a really good movie, but I have my thoughts about this cast. But again, I'm going into it hoping to enjoy that movie. Speaking of things we're hoping to enjoy here, do not forget, starting next week, this time slot every week at 10 p.m. after AEW Dynamite, catch me and Andre here for the next 9 straight weeks as we do Daredevil Born Again. Remember that we will also be back for Thunderbolts Asterix coming up the first weekend of May 2nd, which, if I go to my handy dandy calendar, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we will be back the weekend of the finale of Daredevil Born Again to talk about Thunderbolts.
Wow. Holy shit, man. This never stops.
Well,
and then,
it stops. At least
we're going to have a break because Eyes of Wakanda, but again, that'll be like this. We're going to wait. We're going to watch it all, then give you a review of it, how we feel. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about is that in that break time in between Eyes of Wakanda, Thunderbolts Asterix, and Fantastic Four, we are going to bring back some of those MCU rebounds that we love. They will be bi-weekly episodes during that time. We will not be doing those every week. We're going to be doing a lot of weekly stuff the next little while, so we're definitely going to do some bi-weekly stuff to kind of give us a break and give us a chance to recharge our batteries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But we're expecting big fun things this year. Don't forget, we still got Wonder Man coming. We've still got Marvel Zombies coming this October, which I'm very excited about. I know not everybody's excited for that. I'm very excited for what a standalone Marvel Zombies could be.
Cool. It'll be pretty cool.
It's going to be a bunch of fun. We've still got 3 movies. No. So we are doing all of the Daredevils as weekly episodes. But then once we don't have a big hit show to talk about on the weekly basis, we'll be doing bi-weekly MCU rebounds where we go back to the old days and we redo the MCU. And if I remember correctly, the last one we did was Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So
because we did Black Widow before that, so we kind of tweaked the. I think the last one we did was actually Once Upon a Deadpool, but
that was the last one we actually did. So when we return,
but the last in our rebounds,
So the next rebound that we have will happen after Thunderbolts review, and that will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
One of my lesser ones in the.
But we're starting to hit our stride here, Andre, because we've got some big ones coming. We've got Guardians 2, we got Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther,
the best Thor,
and then Infinity War,
and then Ant-Man and the Wasp,
and then Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then I have a special guest already lined up for our Captain Marvel episode.
That's gonna be.
I have somebody that I have to talk to. I have somebody who's interested in talking about the Captain Marvel.
Is it Peggy?
It is not Peggy. It is somebody else that I tried to get for a different one that I believe is going to join us for Captain Marvel.
Ooh, okay. I don't know.
Peggy knows that she has an open invitation to message me or you and to get the link to jump in here and talk about any episode of any show that she wants to talk about. She is a welcomed guest whenever she'd like to be here. But speaking of welcome guests,
STG.
STG is not a welcome guest in our home every week. But Andre,
he's a welcome contributor to the chat.
Other than you getting the trivia smackdown tomorrow night from the Olay champion.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. I don't know if I can do that. What time is that at?
Oh, you're running scared again. 6 p.m. your time. 8:05 Eastern, I believe.
Okay, I'm gonna have to flip my workouts so that I can do. Fuck. Shit.
Andre's running scared from the Our Local Establishment trivia champion of the world right here. But Andre,
Okay.
tell the
I'm
good
gonna have to
people
come in.
where you're going
I'm
to
gonna
be and
come
what
kick your
you
ass
and,
and then I'll go work out. I'll come kick your ass and
tell
go
the
work
good
out.
people what you and Mel got coming up this week.
We dropped a Did You Know this week. We dropped a Chop Talk that we had our special guest Adam on this week. We've got a Chop Talk that just dropped from a show from a week and a half ago that we finally got recorded. That's out. We have another Did You Know. We have Did You Know coming tomorrow that I'm going to be processing here after I'm done on here. Covering the entirety of all the matches 15th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. GHC Junior Tag League over in Pro Wrestling Noah. So check that out. There will not be a Japanese wrestling update on Friday, as me and Mel Ball are going to be out at a thing on Friday. So, and just between, because we recorded our stuff last night. I'm here tonight. She's at doing ROH tomorrow. So we will not have a chance to do a pre-recorded edition of Japanese Wrestling Update. So we'll be back in a week's time to do Japanese Wrestling Update, and I'll be back this Sunday with you guys. I guess I'll be here tomorrow, and then I'll be back Sunday with you guys to chat the randomness of
Point of view.
some entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you can find Andre at X and Blue Skies at That Canada Guy, TikTok, Instagram threads at That Canada Dude, Facebook, Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk, YouTube.com/at Andre and Melball Wrestling Talk. You can also find them over at A Plus Productions on Facebook and aplusproductions.com in audio form, where you can go ahead and get the RSS feed of all the wonderful audio versions of the shows that they do every week. And if you want to catch them and you want to go ahead and support a good friend of ours, Mike the Ref is where you can find all of their stuff after the fact off of their own channel. You can go ahead and also watch it on Backbreaker Video or Backbreaker Gaming. You can find all kinds of great gaming content from Mike there. Or if you're just looking for an AEW watch along, Mike's got you covered. Every Wednesday night before we go live here, he's going ahead and doing an AEW watch along. Then you can jump on over here, watch us talk about Marvel, and then we can send you back to the end of his GM mode as he's getting ready to finish up GM mode for 2K24, as next week we get the launch of 2K25 for cool people like me who bought the big version. You get it a week early, so technically it'll be out next week. But you can go ahead and find him at Twitch.
I don't know if I'm buying it. I don't know if I'm buying it.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. And of course, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/EdFries2002. And the reason why I want to bring up the Twitch, because I'm bringing contact back to my Twitch channel. Wednesday nights, you will be able to catch me while AEW is going on. You'll be able to come on over here and catch me as I go ahead and do a little bit of a pre-show before my Marvel Talk shows. I'm going to go ahead and do a review of WWE Evolve. That starts next week. I'm very excited for it. You can go ahead and talk all things WWE Evolve as we talk about the WWE ID talent, including Zoe Sager, Zeta Steele, Aaron Rourke, the tag team of Swipe Right of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. All kinds of great talent on there, not to mention all the great WWE talent that's going to be on there, and the wonderful PC talent that we haven't seen on television yet will be there making their appearances. All kinds of good stuff happening there. Like I said, 2K25 comes out next week, so when I have my surgery late into March, I'll probably be doing some 2K25 content as I recover. I'm going to try to do a noobs version of a universe mode, where a newbie who's never touched universe mode before goes in and tries to have some fun building my own WWE universe. I'll also be doing some GM content that'll probably be pre-recorded. Maybe it'll be live. We'll find out as we go. I got all kinds of stuff coming to my Twitch via stuff like that. Can't wait to go ahead and get my hands on 2K25 next week. all kinds of good stuff. You can catch me and Astrid as we do Taking Over every Tuesday night right here at our local establishment, where we're going to be talking all things NXT. We've got a fun thing coming up for NXT Roadblock that we're going to be announcing next week once we get some things lined up. But Astrid had a very fun idea, and we're very excited for this.
Is it me?
Again,
Am I the idea?
No, you were not the idea. We did mention you
Okay.
briefly when we talked about your girl, Lola Vice, stinking up the show last night by being on the show.
She did not.
She absolutely did. She was in the second worst match of the night. The only reason why it was the second worst match of the night is because Moose had a match. And every match that Moose is in can't be a good match because Moose is terrible. And of course, if you want to find all things our local establishment, you can find them here at X on Ole Podcasts. Ole Podcasts pretty much everywhere you can go, or if it's YouTube and Twitch, it's at our local establishment. You can find us there, as well as on Facebook and TikTok, all that kind of good, fun stuff. Remember, we've got shows pretty much every day of the week now. You've got, on Tuesdays, you got Taking Over me and Astrid. On Wednesdays, you're going to have a lot of Marvel talk for almost the entirety of 2025. On Thursday night, you got the doubleheader of Ring Respect Radio and Honor Ramble, which includes his other tag team partner, Ms. Melball Collins, joining the wonderful team of Auntie Collins and Kyle K. Sparks. Fantastic people. We love them to death. Friday nights normally is a Japanese wrestling update almost every week, so don't worry. It'll be back in the near future. It's not going anywhere. It'll be back. You can also catch on Saturdays the Mother Tucking Post Show. And this Saturday, we'll be having our post show for WWE Elimination Chamber, or No Escape, as it's apparently known in Germany, for reasons that should be pretty clear. And then Sundays, every Sunday is Point of View with me, Bobby, Mark, and Andre in a revolving cast kind of thing. This to be known for the man STG. We'll be running an hour late this week. Not early, late STG. We'll be starting around noon Eastern time this week, so you don't have to show up late, but also don't bitch that you were there too early as well, because Bobby's not going to handle that. Bobby's not going to play that game. Homie, don't play that game, as Mad TV used to tell me when I was a kid. I'm sorry, that was in Living Color. It was not Mad TV. That was in Living Color. But
Get it right.
For the Waynes are the one of the most fantastic people. I love the Waynes and almost everything they do. For myself, for 2/3 of Andre C., this has been Marvel Talk, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.